Excellent.
Welcome to the Hypothalamic Amenorrhea podcast. I'm Dani, your host, certified fertility awareness practitioner, functional nutrition counselor, and founder of the HA Society, and of course, an HA recovery coach who has walked where you currently are walking. This is the place to come if you care about getting your period regularly. This podcast aims to educate, inform, and keep you motivated on your period and HA recovery track. So let's dive in. But last thing, nothing on the show should be taken as medical advice, so please seek the advice of your physician.
All right. Listen up. If you are listening to this right now, you're hearing my voice in your ears in this very second. The Holistic HA Practitioner Certification is open for enrollment right now. Yes. So if you're feeling the call to work with women with amenorrhea, to get their periods back, to help them get pregnant, optimize their fertility, this is the course for you. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Dani, this is a podcast for people with amenorrhea. True. This certification is not going to be for all of you. This certification is going to be for those of you who really feel that call, that the call that I had, the call that Ashley had, to make a change and fill the gap that the healthcare practitioners, the nutrition coaches, the health coaches, the fitness coaches haven't been able to do for us. So if you are a health practitioner, if you are a fitness instructor, a personal trainer, a nutritionist, or if you aspire to work with women with amenorrhea in the way that we do, then you are the person that this is for. And it really takes a lot of the time people who have been through it to come out the other side and help the others go through it too, right? So if that happens to be you, maybe you're a few cycles in, maybe you are recovered, or maybe you're on your journey, but you can already tell, like, yeah, this is the change that I want to make, then yeah, the Holistic HA Practitioner Certification is for you. Or maybe you know the healthcare practitioner in your circle who needs this information, or the personal trainer or the nutritionist in your sphere that needs this information. Pass the link on. Not only are you going to have these skills and the tools that you need to actually feel confident as a coach and confident to go out there and actually help women and make a difference, but you're going to have the credentials too. This is an accredited course with the International Practitioners of Holistic Medicine. And Ashley and I are so excited to be launching the very first cohort of this. This means it's the best time to join the certification because you're going to get in the ground level. And the first 48 hours, we're doing the early bird pricing, as well as adding 2 huge bonuses. So if you're listening to this right now, it's currently the first 48 hours. So you're going to want to get in on this. Do not delay. Check it out. thehasociety.com/certification. The Holistic HA Practitioner Certification is going to be awesome, and we cannot wait to work directly with you to make you the best HA coach that you can be. See you there. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the HA podcast. It's me, Dani. Hello, Ashley.
Hey.
As we're taking an interesting left turn in our usual recovery content to talk about something that Ash and I have been planting seeds about for a little bit over the last few months, that we are preparing to launch a certification. We have been working on the Holistic Hypothalamic Amenorrhea Practitioner Certification. This thing is legit. It's like a 30-week course. Prepare yourself. It's accredited. We have poured our heart and soul into it, and we wanted to share about it with you today.
Yeah, I feel like I'm birthing another baby. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like the workup to this is just like guys. We like no holding back, no secrets, nothing. Like we are just pouring everything that we know into this mentally, physically, that's associated with HA.
Yeah. And it's a big decision, right? When we were like, should we make the course? Like,
Yeah.
who are you to make the course? You know what I mean? Like to make the certification. Turns out we're actually exactly who should make the certification. Which has been
Yeah.
so exciting to just have it all come together, have it make perfect sense, to sit down and realize like we do have a system and a way that we work with clients and that we understand what's going on, that we absolutely can teach others to use. So we're talking about on the show today because the reality is, right, people who have gone through HA are the people who want to and are best fit to work with other women who have gone or are going through HA. It's just like,
Yeah. Not that that is your only qualification, but I think it's
no.
one of those things of it would be really hard to empathize and coach, but also hold the line of what needs to happen for recovery if like you yourself have not been through the mental, emotional, and physical struggle of like recovering, right? It's like there is a unique blend of like recognizing that, yeah, gaining weight in a world that glorifies weight loss and puts value on body composition. And then this misinformation about what health looks like, and being able to empathize that that is what they're going through. Like their whole world is being rocked right now. And how do you support them through that, but also facilitate change, right? How do you help this person move from like a caterpillar to a butterfly, and knowing that the middle is possibly going to be the worst? Like we need scientific evidence and that emotional capacity, that emotional intelligence to help move people through,
Mm-hmm. And really the tools and strategies to have the breakthroughs for those things.
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely like with HA specifically, it really is a psychological game. It really is mindset. It really is rebuilding your belief system around this issue mixed with the science and physiology of what's actually going on. So it's been very cool to create a course that combines both like simultaneously, right? So we've created these modules, and there's a lot of them. If you're interested, you want to know what the modules are, you can actually go to the website. We have them listed, the hhsociety.com/certification. And inside of all of those modules, we talk the science, like what's going on, and we interweave the actual coaching strategies to make it interesting, right? But to sort of like, we just don't want to separate them. We're not going to do like the science of what's happening and then the mindset of change. We just really have enjoyed kind of interweaving it into these really robust, specific classes about HA and about coaching women through HA.
Yes. So I get a lot of coaching questions about how do you facilitate mindset change? How do you get a client from A to B? And I was really having to stop and think about like, oh, okay, yeah, how do I do that? Because it has become so natural just because I've been coaching for so long, right? I mean, I intend to have a long career in coaching because I love it, but like you forget, how do you actually help someone navigate this change? And so, fielding these questions has really helped me even write the certification of, it's not enough to know the answer or the science. How you present it impacts habit change. The environment that you create with your client impacts habit change. It is not enough to know the science at all. And I think that we can kind of probably see that with medical professionals, where like they know about the HPO axis and they'll even tell you that you have HA, but that's where it ends, right? Because they don't like, that's not their profession. Like they're not a coaching profession. They're not a habit change transformation. They are a diagnosing, profession. Right. And so it's like, if we're not careful as coaches or as friends, we can just bring the knowledge, and yeah, that's helpful, but then what makes you different than just a textbook?
Mm. Mm. Yeah. And so that kind of brings me to like, well, who is this career path in general appropriate for? Like becoming a recovery coach, we're not saying do our course, it's the only way. We got into this before there was a course, but in general, like the people who sort of need this skills and information are anyone who maybe like Ash just mentioned, are in the health field, right? Like we've had a lot of interest from people who are nurse practitioners and things who just want to like have this information to add into their scope, to know the signs, to just be able to speak and connect with people who may be going through this issue, all the way through to personal trainers who work with women. And we actually think these are some people who like ding, 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 ding. One day it will probably be a standard part of like their syllabus is to kind of know because I don't think that they do anything on menstrual cycle in basic personal training certifications. Maybe
No, but I have poking around, like just even in exercise majors, exercise science, those types of things, like they talk about the female triad, right? And obviously they are adjusting that to include Red S, which is phenomenal movement. That's amazing. That's great.
It's still very specific to a certain demographic, which
yes,
is one of the challenges we face.
Which is, you and I didn't fit into that demographic. Like I didn't fit into the female triad in like the way that it was explained, you know what I mean? But hypothalamic amenorrhea is a function of Red S, you know what I mean? Type of thing. So again, it's just more broad because as we have seen as practitioners, you don't have to be a certain weight to develop HA. You don't have to be this intense endurance athlete. You know what I mean? All these things that we picture someone who would lose their cycle, guess what? There's a lot of average people, and average, and I say that in air quotes just to drive home this point, you don't have to be an elite athlete to develop HA. And so this is why I think it's important for coaches, trainers, you know what I mean? That if you think nutrition is important, then this is just as important because it's heavily related and directly tied to it as well.
Yeah. Yep. And then there's people, right? Let's talk about those who are thinking about a complete career change. Like this could be an interesting thing to do with my life instead of what I'm doing right now. As in, like, have you considered, or are you actively being already a HA recovery coach? Because this is a new thing that's popped up in like the past 4 or 5 years. And so it's growing, and it's going to continue to be a profession. And I think that's really cool.
Well, I like to think of it as just because you're part of the world on Instagram or on YouTube or on TikTok sees you talk about it doesn't mean that like that's your bubble. And honestly, there's so many females out there with HA. I mean, I think, Dani, I just sent you over like a stat, and even then it's probably not all encompassing, right? But like this should be such basic information for women that it's going to take more than 5 practitioners in like the HA space to do it, right? And I just think it's one of those things where a lot of people are like, abundance for scarcity. Obviously, Dani and I function in abundance, meaning that there is plenty of women that need to know. And truth is, not one practitioner is going to be able to serve them all. Just not. And that there is room at the table for everybody. So that's how.
And in fact, when you sit down and you think, like, for us, right, as a company, oh, well, what are our values? What's our mission statement? And say we want to shoot for the moon, and we want to say that there is like almost no hypothalamic amenorrhea. in the world, right? Like this is way more rare of a situation. Say that's our goal. Well, the model we have going on right now ain't going to get us there, right? Coaching one client at a time. So this makes the most sense to take all of the women listening who figured this out, right? Like you figured out you have HA somehow already on your own because you're here. Something's kind of calling you potentially. And maybe you feel that. And I believe that most of us are called to share this at least with like one other person to help them make change. You know what I mean? Like your sister, your best friend. Like I think we'll all at some point be in a position to help someone else. And then I think that there's a group of us as well who realize that amenorrhea or HA and what got us here is actually a huge problem. It actually took away a big bunch of your joy in your life and your vitality. And when you go through recovery and you realize like, whoa, that was so much more than a missing period, it's natural for you to be like, well, what do I need to do with this? And we're telling you that like, we need more people with this information. We need more people ready and confident to say, I can work with you and help you through this. And that's really why we created this certification. And as we speak to other women who, like Ashley mentioned, sometimes people will come and ask us for coaching advice. One of the things that comes up is like, I just don't feel confident yet to help people or to say that like, I'm qualified to do this or I have the experience to do this. And yeah, so like we hear that and we get that and we felt that too, a long time ago when we started this type of work. I assume you felt that, Ashley. I don't know. I did.
Yeah, I go back. That's an interesting thing. And I kind of wondered whenever someone was going to buck up and be like, who are you to do this? Right. So I've kind of had this answer prepared. No. You know what I mean? Like I really have. So if this is you feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid that someone's going to come around and be like, who are you to be helping educate women on their menstrual cycle and the effects of dieting? My beautiful, compassionate answer is, and this is not just my experience. Many, many women have gone to probably over 5 medical professionals, specialists, endocrinologists, OBGYNs, primary care. And this is, again, not to crap on them. And nobody could figure out what I had. Finally, when I went to an IVF specialist, he said, yep, this is HA. Okay, just come and see me whenever you want to get pregnant and start the birth control. I'll put in a script for you to start birth control. That was the level. And I'm not saying that everybody does that. But what I am saying is I am not the only one who has had this experience. And my whole point is, I don't think I particularly need to go into thousands of dollars of debt to get a PhD or to be called a doctor in order to educate women on the basic function of their menstrual cycle and their HPO axis. This is not patented information, and this isn't information that should be over anybody's head. Like this is simply learning about your body, learning to track your basal body temperature, learning to understand what it means, you know what I mean? Learning that there's that like your body actually wants to heal. And because we don't prescribe, treat or cure, you heal.
Because
HA
remembering that HA is not actually a disease.
Yeah, well, because it's not a disease and it is reversible. You know what I mean? No, I don't feel inadequate because I'm simply just teaching people about their menstrual cycle and what science has to say about it. And if anything, I would be more worried as now, like we were health coach, not health coaches, but nutrition coaches who did not know about HA and in fact actually developed HA. And I think I would be more nervous doing that rather than helping educate women on how to eat a
Oh
balanced
yeah.
diet
Yeah.
and
Actually,
regain
when
their
you think about
survival.
it, with this perspective now, it's so, yeah, it is so funny. It's like, wow, I don't know if I want to, help people with fertility challenges. That's scary, right? Feedback I've heard before.
Mhm.
And it's like the fact that it's just not normalized yet, because the fact that everyone and their dog is out there being a nutrition coach, happily, safely sleeping at night while they give advice on how to eat and how to starve, right? And no one's like thinking twice about that. And it's not any fault of their own. It's just like a conditioning piece, and it's become so normal and common to do that. But like that actually is pretty scary.
Yeah, and I want us to and so I don't want this to come off of like I don't even abide by a scope of practice, but I want us to really pause and think, what are we really doing? We are educating women on their menstrual cycle. We're educating women how to read their own basal body chart. So your menstrual cycle is free. Your basal body temperature is free. You know what I mean? It's like we are reconnecting you with your body. And if anything, we are helping you eat more so that your body functions come back on. And we are sitting there with you as you go through it, knowing how it feels and just offering you that support as like you go along. Now, I don't want to oversimplify our process, but that is the process. And I think even every single time some of our most challenging clients recover, I think I'm always shocked. I think I'm always going to be shocked, right? I'm always going to be shocked that the ability to heal ourselves was always there. And our body was always trying to guide us there, but we didn't trust our body. So again, in like the grand scheme of things of, are you qualified? Yes, because education is free. Excuse me, like your menstrual cycle and how eating impacts it should not be reserved for medical professionals
For specialists.
and
That's not
specialists.
body literacy.
No, body literacy needs to be taught. Like, again, like I kind of said it the other day, but now that this is coming up, I'm realizing it may be more and more important. I cannot wait to write units for teachers, for health teachers. Like, I'm going to do it. Like, that's the goal towards like the end, is to start that process, because I really do believe that even this should be taught in high school. You know how many 30-year-olds are like, why was I never taught this? Why was I today years old when I realized that this is cervical mucus and not a yeast infection?
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
it is body literacy in that, like, you don't need to be qualified to tell another woman like what we should just already innately know, is, essentially. And what HA coaching is just like entering into that conversation with someone and helping them relearn what their body's already innately capable of, right? It's not rocket science. It's not surgery.
Yeah. And I also think actually what it really is just providing women an informed decision about dieting.
Oh, such a great way to put it.
It's really just providing the other side.
Yeah. So what
and
we
maybe
do,
that disrupts. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, you can finish your thought, because I was almost taking it down a different route.
No, I was just saying that like what like we do, like it may disrupt the status quo because it's messing with people's money making of fasting, dieting, detoxing. You know what I mean? Like maybe it is. And I'm waiting for that day to where people kind of get pissed about it. Because like I said, once, like, women are intelligent, but you can't make a proper decision without informed consent. Well, not so much informed consent, but like, just kind of like the whole birth control uproar of our generation. Like, we're like, whoa. You didn't even mention anything of the side effects.
Y'all, we have been trying to record this for like 30 minutes. So here we go. Take 580. Hey, did you know that we support people with HA, low progesterone, anovulation, short luteal phases, and all of the types of challenges that come up with infertility?
Dani and I are practitioners that have helped hundreds of women beat HA, regain fertility, and get pregnant naturally.
We are here to break the status quo of spending tens of thousands of dollars on IVF treatments for women who have issues that can absolutely be solved naturally.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. So we do this with our signature program that restores ovulation to regain healthy menstrual cycles. And if you're ready, get pregnant completely naturally.
On top of our one-on-one sessions, our fertility program even includes a styling session with Samantha Dawn, who is a body positive stylist. She's also our personal stylist
Yes.
and an expert in helping you to dress your new and nourished body.
This is so important that we don't even need to convince you on how important this is. We want you to relearn how to nourish your body, claim your fertility, and feel confident in your clothes as your body changes. It doesn't have to be painful.
No, yeah, exactly right. It doesn't have to be painful. With a little bit of guidance and support, you can absolutely do this. So if getting your cycle back and if feeling good about the process, if getting pregnant naturally is something you want to do, if you don't want to spend tens of thousands of dollars on medical treatment for something that you don't have to, we have just the place for you to go. So go to the hasociety.com/coaching to learn more about who we are, what we do, and apply today.
Yeah, we look forward to supporting you.
That was good. Do you like that one?
Yeah, I do like that
Okay.
one. That one's way more us.
Yeah, boom. There you go.
You thought what was best for me and made the decision for me and then presented the information in a way that I didn't think that there was any other option. And then therefore that's where I am. And now this many years later, I'm in another,
Yeah, this brings me to one more question to kind of ask yourself too, if you're thinking like, well, who am I to take this route? I do promise you that if people were getting the help that they truly needed sufficiently from the medical field, we would leave it up to them. We absolutely would. But it's just a count of stories where that's not what the help that they're getting, right? And I think what's really cool about what we're doing is like we're at the very beginning of a change, an uprising almost. And so it feels uncomfortable because this is new. But I think that the people who are willing to say like, okay, I tried that route and there's still a gap. And I think there's a gap and I think this is a problem. And if I really do truly believe that, then it's okay to go and try and fill that gap. Like that's at least what I have done.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those things of, as long as you're open to like continuously learning and not being like, this is the definitive about everything, you know what I mean? It just leaves you to be a better practitioner. And so I don't want you to feel like you have to be like, and I know everything. It's humbling and it's so healthy to be able to be like, y'all, I was wrong. I thought this before, but after experiencing some education and some research, it may not be that way. And in fact, I actually think just through the research, just because we've been knee deep in it, the organizations or the people or the things that impact our health who refuse to change despite new information only leads me to create greater distrust. You know what I mean? And so I think, again, as you're stepping into this role, no, you don't have to be like, this is it and this is only it. And you know what I mean? No, come into this knowing that you're going to be a lifelong learner. you don't have to be perfect or know it all. And in fact, nobody trusts that.
Mm. Yeah, it's definitely been cool to be able to say, hey, like, I don't know, but I'm going to find the answer. I'm a part of this mentorship group or this network group, and I'm going to go get their thoughts on this type of issue. Like, that's what a real professional does. So it's okay to say and do those things. And, when I think about professionals in any field, I actually, the more I kind of go through life, the more I realize everyone's kind of like making this up as they go. Life, right? Like, yes, your subject matter, but you make mistakes, right? Like, everyone makes mistakes, or everyone has a limit. And it's so much more about like, what tools do you have? How do you know how to go and find the information? And then just, I think the beginning of your career too, like, when it comes to HA coaching too, it's mostly that, and that's okay. It's mostly like, oh, that's new. Let me try and find a tool with this. Let me try this on. Let me experiment this with a client. Hey, that didn't work. Hey, this didn't. Hey, this worked better. I think the very beginning is like that. And you can also just like prepare clients that that's where you're at, and it's going to be that way. And then as you go and you've worked with 100 and now 200 clients, it's just going to be less like that. You're going to have seen most of it before, and that's where experience and the opportunity to like raise your prices and things like that come. You have to be willing to start at the beginning and say like, hey, I'm a baby recovery coach. I'm going to help, like, we're going to be partners through this. Maybe you just be transparent with that.
Well, I think even physicians and medical providers up at the very top, they work in teams.
Yes.
Like, I'm telling you, I honestly will not hire a provider who will not like consult somebody else or check with a colleague or check with a mentor. You know what I mean? Like, I actually, when I hired Madeline for Nuggy's gut health, the winner was, she was like, you know what? That's a great question. I'm going to call the company and I'm going to ask what their protocol is. And then I'm going to call somebody else and then just kind of put it together. And then like, I'm going to bring it back to you. And then I was like, boom, I have a partner. I have a partner in this health journey. And so that's really why I was like, sweet. Absolutely. Because one, I ain't got time for that. Two, that's not my field of expertise. Three, I don't know those people. You know what I mean? So it was just one of those things of team effort. And that's why you and I consult on cases together as a team. It's not just an individual, person. It's because an objective point of view, someone who's not in the weeds, it's just like this magic juju where they're able to see something that you've potentially overlooked, and not because you're not a good practitioner, but because you're in the weeds. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because you get to know someone, you get to know a client, and you almost feel like you fully understand everything they're doing. And, you've worked with them for like 10 months and, I know they're eating right and they're not doing this and not doing that. And then someone's like, oh, well, when was the last time you confirmed that they're still doing that? Or what, are you sure they're doing that? And it's like, you know what? Yeah, I actually haven't checked since like we wrote their original protocol. It's that kind of thing is really common. And this is like jumping a bunch of steps right now, but that's also why as a part of the certification that we're doing, there's a mentorship piece too, where you can, even though you've completed the course, we'll be doing monthly calls with practitioners to come and bring, anonymous but challenging cases to get other opinions on. And I've utilized that from past certifications that I've done in those groups. And it's been amazing to be able to say to clients like, hey, that's a good question. I'm going to actually show my mentor, or I'm going to see if anyone else in the group has come across situations like this. And those clients always actually like thank and appreciate that you're taking their case to the table. No one's ever like, oh, what do you mean? They don't know the answer. They have to go ask someone else. Like, that's not ever the opinion.
Well, I think that's because unfortunately that's been the experience with traditional medical providers, is that like they look at your paper and then they're like, yep, it has to be this. And you're like, whoa, what about any other possibilities? Like they didn't have any time to talk to any colleagues that, you know what I mean? It's just kind of one of those things like this, here's the thing, this is what I think it is. And then kind of just go about, you know what I mean? To where I think that that is just one of the benefits of, having a community to bounce things off of. I'm worried about people who function in a vacuum. Like clearly you could tell, like that is a concern of mine, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Hence why if, trainers only talk with trainers, they're like not going to know about HA. If, like PTs only, like we actually have a wide amount of women who are PTs and have HA. And I'm like, that's, I think it's interesting. You know what I mean? So it's like,
personal trainers, dietitians, physical therapists,
even physical therapists. Yeah. And I'm like, interesting, because I know that they've taken like anatomy classes. I know that they've had to address the menstrual cycle. So where's like the missing piece type of thing?
Yeah, very interesting.
So I just think it's interesting, honestly, to broaden your network just gives you access to education that you're probably not going to go do. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm not going to become a physical therapist, but I know someone who is, and I can't wait to pick their brain. I don't know. It's just really important.
Yeah. No, I love it. So the way that we have structured the certification, if you are interested, is we give you basically all the information, right? So that you feel really confident, you understand the principles that are happening in your body, your physical anatomy, the hormone production, all of that good stuff. We go through the science, what is happening. We take you through our actual intake process. So we'll give you a version that you could use or might be similar to something you already use in practice for actually asking the right questions when you bring clients on. We teach you how to review the answers to questions like that. So look for golden nuggets, red flags, and things that stand out. This is where a lot of the magic happens. This is where we really hit the ground running with clients, is like in the magic of looking through their intake forms, their food reviews, right? We take you through the way that we review what people eat, how and why we make the recommendations that we do. That's a big part of like knowing who you're talking to, how they receive information. Ashley, what do you call it? It's like I'm having like a mind blank, but on the soft skills.
Oh yeah, soft skills.
Yes, the soft skills.
Like how do you actually conduct a first session?
Yes.
What is the, and not saying that one way is like the best way. And
no, everyone should put their flair on it for sure.
Yes. And you should build your toolbox, because not every client is the same. If you are functioning the same way every single time, then like you're potentially not taking into account that this is a different individual in front of you.
Oh, there are absolutely times. So we do start with like a framework, but there are absolutely times, occasionally, where you get someone, you'd be like, we're actually going to do this in a completely different way with you. And that could be because you have someone who is a seeking help but extremely hesitant, or has what we call unicorn syndrome, and just like doesn't think that any of the standard stuff's going to happen, like going to work for them. And we meet them where we're at, and we kind of get their buy-in, and you build their trust. And there are special circumstances, absolutely. And we take you through all of that, and you'll get that. And then you can use that in your own practice, and, you can develop it and add to it as you go for whatever works for you. Then we kind of get into, once you're sort of past that like intake and conducting that first session, how do you use the fertility awareness method and other markers of progress to make sure your clients are moving forward and not just spinning their wheels? How do you explain what you're seeing to them, make them feel confident that they have someone they can go to? And then how to coach in between, because it's one thing to sort of, hey, here's the protocol. The next step is having them be consistent and be patient and follow through. And there's a lot of soft skills and coaching that has to happen in there. You're going to get a lot of anxious emails, a lot of stress conversations with people who are dealing with a lot of fear, and this can be emotionally draining unless you have the right tools to handle it, and to help them through.
Client buy-in, fostering client buy-in is huge. It's just like, I can have a million examples of this, but like leading a horse to water. How do you get them to drink? I also like to think of like coaching as like, you're a Sherpa. You're there, you're with them, you're guiding them, but you're not making them do it. You know what I mean? Because you can't force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do. So how do you stand up for that person that's in there that's like, I do want to recover, but I'm so afraid? Like, how do you
how do you make it like their idea in the end?
Well, how do you bring that person forward and get it to a place where that part of them is leading, not the fear, not the insecurity?
Yep.
So
all of that, and then, as well, of course, the things that like, well, what do we know that actually works with the protocol? What do we see is missing from this person's diet? Or what do we see, what behaviors or mindset issues seem to be coming up for this person that actually are huge blind spots, that only trained eyes really can pick up on, and that you'll learn with experience. But we're going to give everyone the answers, and so that you can learn that sooner and implement that in your coaching way faster than we got to in the beginning.
Definitely. And just because I just got done doing some of it, of all the questions that you're going to have answers about. Why does this happen? And what about this? And what about this possibility? What does this mean? What if, all this, and this, we have a nice compiled units to help you answer everything from HRT to the peptide YY, which is connected to lack of hunger. You know what I mean? Everything of like, why am I not hungry? Why am I full? You know what I mean? Depression, just like all the things that is compiled for you, so that when you're coaching, you're like, hold up, I have read about this. And there's references for you so that you can pull that for yourself. And if you want to read that, or
for your clients,
send it to your clients. You know what I mean? That there's not a lack. We're getting to the place where there's not so much a lack of research about it. Yes, maybe the specific small one-off things, you know what I mean? But we're getting to a place where there's adequate research. And so thankfully we're providing that for you as well. So it's kind of one of those things.
Yeah, no, for sure. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. There's a practicum at the end. So you also have two options. You don't have to do the practicum. You don't have to get the certification. If you just want the information, cool. If you want the certification and call yourself a certified holistic HA practitioner, there's a practicum. So you'll take 2 clients and you will coach through them. You can find those clients yourself, or we will assist you in finding those clients thanks to our amazing, incredible community at the HA Society, which gives you your first 2 clients, which is just really important for building confidence, for being able to say, hey, hire me, I have experience. I've had 2 clients before. It just really gets you hitting the ground running. That's something we're going to do our best to help people with if they don't already have their own platform, find their own volunteers for that. But that's a really cool, important piece, because we get to walk you through the actual process and give you our feedback and ideas along the way, so that you leave the certification being like, I know how to do this. So it's really sick. 2 FAQs, but there is an FAQ on the website if you want to go look at it. But 2 FAQs is like, do you help us get clients? Like I just said, we'll help you with your practicum, but we're not like giving you a business. This isn't a franchise. So certainly you're building your own business. And then secondly, do you help with marketing? I would love to. There is not a module on marketing and building your own practice, just because we have no idea if that's something anyone even wants. There's so many resources out there for something like that. But if you sign up for the early bird, which is for the first, I believe, week of when enrollment opens on February 28th, and you're a part of the mentorship program, absolutely, if things like marketing and establishing a practice is something you actually care about, you'll be able to talk to us there. And if there's enough feedback, of course, we'll add things like that in. But that's our answer for that. Any other FAQs you think are helpful to share here, Ash?
No, I think I kind of touched on it, just more of like the mentorship for like the early bird, just bringing client cases, or like I think that I might even be interested in doing like review check-ins, like, hey, just send me something, you know what I mean? Not saying that I'm the end all be all, but again, that second set of eyes, like, like I have Dani as my second set of eyes. Do you have somebody else? No, if not, then that's what we're here for, type of thing. And so I'm really excited to support women as coaches, as they support other people through that bonus, if you will.
Yes. So enrollment opens February 28th. I believe at the time of this episode, that is tomorrow. That's my goal. Somewhere around there. So it opens February 28th. The early bird is open at the time of the release of this podcast. We would love to have you. By the way, early bird means you get a discount. Don't think we mentioned that, but and it comes with the mentorship. So we would love to have you as a part of the certification. It is all the information you need to know about how it's run is on the website. So please go and check it out. You're also welcome to book a discovery call. So you can book a call with us and ask any questions you might have about whether or not this is the right move for you, because I have had some calls already with people like trying to decide if they're still recovering and wondering if they could do the course at the same time to help with themselves. And, also because like they might be a physical therapist or something like that, if it would be cool for them to do this for themselves and their future practice clients. All kinds of questions come up and we want to hear them because this is our first time launching this program. So we want to know what your questions are. So you can book a call with us if you want, or you can just email us, Dani at thehhasociety.com, and ask any questions you have. But this is exciting. Let's all make some serious change in the world.
Yes.
And of course, if this is interesting to you, but you're still on your journey, stay where you are. Keep working on recovery. We'll reopen this certification again another time. So it's not like a one and done thing. And just consider it, plant a seed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Trust the timing. Trust the timing.
Yeah. Trust the timing. Yeah. If you're hearing this and you're like, this is the timing, then this is the timing. If you're hearing this and you're like, it just so happens that in 2 years from now, I want a career change, trust the timing. This has been great. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Come join us for certification, thehhasociety.com/certification. And we will see you guys next week.
All right. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening today, guys. Please subscribe to the podcast, and if you could head to iTunes specifically and leave a rating or review, that would help so much because it makes it easier for other people with HA who are Googling around to find the podcast really easily. So if you do that, you're doing a service to all of the women.
At Kroger, we want our fresh produce to meet your expectations, which is why we're dedicated to doing up to a 27-point inspection on our fruits and veggies, checking for things like scarring. In fact, only the best produce like zesty oranges and crisp carrots reach our shelves. Because when it comes to fresh, our higher standards mean fresher produce. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save big on your favorites with the Buy 5 or More, Save $1 each sale. Simply buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.